For those of you interested in the Poirier versus McGregor saga, we had the third fight at UFC 264. Now, McGregor was out round one with a full-on left leg break. Let's break down this injury in more detail. For those of you watching, my name is Sonam, and I'm a resident doctor specializing in sports and exercise medicine. On this channel, I break down injuries as they happen so that average fans can better understand what's going on. Be sure to like and subscribe when you want to stay up to date. Now, for those of you who do follow the saga, I was quite shocked that McGregor broke his leg the way he did. Let's look at the footage quickly and discuss why that type of mechanism is unusual to really result in a leg break. So this here is the actual break of his leg. Essentially what Conor McGregor does is he steps back, and as he steps back, he actually rolls his ankle inward. So we call that an inversion injury of an ankle. Now, typically, you don't see a break that bad with an athlete planting their leg back. Usually athletes have trained their bones so much that, the bone mass itself is much stronger than the regular population. So the fact that he actually broke his tib fib stepping back really leads me to believe he likely broke it earlier in the fight, or at least cracked it and developed a bit of a stress fracture or an occult fracture. Now, if we look at news reports some more, Poirier actually comes out and says he actually felt his left leg fracture earlier on in one of the kicks. Now, I have covered a multitude of tib-fib fractures in UFC. Of note, Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman, and I will put that up there so you can look at the anatomy of it. Usually those result in fractures as the athlete is trying to kick the opponent with enormous amount of forces. So I'm thinking that there's two main mechanisms how McGregor sustained the initial injury that caused him to break his tib and fib while standing back on it. One could be a kick by Poirier to McGregor in the lower aspect of the leg. The second can also be if McGregor did the same. I mean, we've seen this in Weidman and De Silva. So these are things to really think about. And what happens is it creates an occult fracture in the area so that when he steps back, and when he stepped back in round one, this is what happened. And this is what we're worried about. Now, reports state that he had an ankle fracture, but honestly, when you're looking that high up, you're not really worried about the ankle, and this is above the ankle joint. If we look at the anatomy specimen here, so this is the left lower leg with all of its bones. We had an inversion injury, so think about this foot being pulled inward, so this way. And when you actually look at the images and the replay footage itself, he ended up breaking around here. So this was above the ankle joint. Usually the ankle joint is much lower. And this is where most fighters are subjected to both their tib-fib fractures because they actually are taught to land all their kicks in this area. So my thought is he probably had an occult or a small hairline fracture that he sustained earlier in round one. And then all it took was that step back, that small inversion injury, and there was a full snap of both the tibia and the fibula. So Conor McGregor is going to need surgery for this. As you can see, I'm going to put up a picture here. He was carted out of the arena after he broke his tib fib. He'll likely get plates and screws in his tibia, as well as they'll approximate the fibula, but they don't end up really repairing it because it's a non-weight bearing bone. So essentially it heals on its own. This was a very interesting wrap up to this saga. Number one, I covered his foot drop that Poirier sustained using an insane amount of anatomy and very strategic leg kicks. And now McGregor in this fight steps back and completely snaps his entire leg. It's sure been an interesting series. Poirier has walked with the win, but I mean, these two guys have put up a good show for most MMA fans. If you have any questions or comments about this injury, please leave them down below. If you like this video and want to stay up to date on more videos I do in the future, please like and subscribe to my channel. For now, that's all.